I'm just like you guys, you're quick on that. Was there any vitriol in it?
No, it's all the way up.
Is it?
Unless somebody lowered it. Yeah, no, I already tried that. I can barely see over top of the screen.
I saw somebody small and black across the floor and I about squealed like a little girl. We're safe.
Presentation. And then your ordinances, or your
It's kind of nice that it looks fuller up here.
I grabbed the closest notepad.
Right, guys. If I grabbed one at home. In fact, I gave that same one to my son. I wasn't using it. So it probably looks the same way.
Brian, do you get stuff like this in
In my what?
your notebooks?
No, seriously, no. Did Adam draw that for you? I mean, I'm just guessing, but I imagine we might see.
I would say Adams would probably be, we're out of something at the grocery store. We need milk.
Or something deer hunting.
1 minute. We're very secure tonight. Since there's a badge pitting, I said we're very secure. We've got like half the department here.
Is there anybody on the street?
Is there another place?
All right, I'm fine with it. We can throw it on the floor if you want. Throw it underneath it.
I might just put it on the chair.
Yeah. That's what I say, throw it on the floor.
Nice to get it.
All right, guess it's that time. All right, guys, it's 7 p.m. I'll go ahead and call the Spring Hill City Council regular meeting of February 10th, 2022 to order. And if we could all stand if you're able, we have Pastor Angie McCarty is going to do the invocation for us.
Good evening, everybody. Let's join in a spirit of prayer. Loving God, we are so thankful for today and the warmth that greeted us after such a long spell of cold. We're grateful for the hope that we have in the future of Spring Hill and the ways that we can be a part of developing community here. So we pray that tonight we'll know that your Spirit is with us, that is among us, that is in our conversation, that is in our words and our facial expressions and everything that we bring to this meeting tonight. We know that you are here. Help us to live as if this is our reality and help us to always remember the humanity of each other. Amen.
Thank you. We can stay standing for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Steve Owen did come by my office tonight and submitted a letter of resignation effective immediately. He is stepping down as his position on the council, and we do want to thank him for his years of service. He has served faithfully, and we do appreciate all he's given to the city council and given to the city and its citizens. And with that, we're going to go ahead and open up after tonight's meeting. We will open up and be accepting letters of interest for the council position that he will be vacating, and we'll leave that open until Thursday, February 17th at 12 p.m. And with that, Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Mrs. Roth,
Here?
Mr. Peel,
Here.
Mr. Young,
Here.
Mayor, we do have a quorum present.
All right. Next, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Does any of the council members have any requested changes to the agenda? All right. Then we just need a motion.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 3-0-0. Next, we will move on to a presentation of badge pinning for Captain Adam Kahn and Chief Henson.
Thank you for letting me the time to recognize and celebrate an individual who volunteered and was chosen to lead others within the Spring Hills Police Department. Selecting leaders is not something that I or anyone for that matter should take lightly. Everything can rise and fall on leadership. So when selecting leaders, it is important to find people of character who demonstrate consistency, competency, and the right attitude to lead others. Being promoted to a position where you lead others is a significant step in a career. It shows a willingness to challenge oneself and become more involved in the success of a department. During the selection process for captain, Adam demonstrated his ability to understand and represent our department core values of respect, which is responsibility, excellence, service, professionalism, example, compassion, and teamwork. He brings with him energy and experience that will benefit the department. Tonight, we are going to officially recognize Adam as a captain for the department. We are also glad that we can share this accomplishment with his family and members of the governing body and the citizens of Spring Hill. So Adam, if you and Jillian will come up. So that you guys can just stand awkwardly right now. Would you like to introduce who you have here tonight as well? You have some parents?
I've got my wife, Jillian, right in here, and my mother, Ann Rentow, and my mother-in-law, Mary Lynn McHale.
Awesome.
So Captain Kahn was born and grew up in Wichita, Kansas. He was not born this size. He attended high school at Wichita Independent School. And he continued his education at the University of Kansas, where he earned a bachelor's degree in anthropology and human biology and pre-med. He then attended William Howard Taft School of Law, earning his Juris Doctorate in December of 2020. He is a lifelong learner. Captain Kahn began his law enforcement career in Douglas County as a correction officer in 2012. In 2013, he was hired by the Bonner Springs Police Department. During his tenure with BSPD, he performed the duties of patrol officer, field training officer, SWAT operator, investigations, PIO, which is basically your media officer, corporal, and sergeant. He brings with him experience in patrol operations, investigations, critical incidents, tactical response, and program management. He is also a firearms instructor and an armorer. And he is also a recipient of the Kansas Association of Chiefs of Police Gold Award for Valor. He's completed the FBI CS Leads Leadership Program, the FBI LEADA Command Leadership Course, and the KLTC Law Enforcement Leadership Academy. Captain Kahn is married to Jillian, and together they foster dogs along with raising their own fur babies, Henry, Blue, and Leela. Jillian is finalizing her residency to become an ER doctor. Now, before we officially pin your badge, your mother, Ann, and your mother-in-law, Mary Lynn, would like to present you the captain bars worn by your grandfather in World War II and your stepmother while serving in the armed forces. So if you guys would come up.
Get out of the pictures.
Yeah, you guys can do a group shot with that real quick. Because this will be the last time you'll get the picture opportunity. Yeah. Now the official. I hope you guys practiced.
It'll grow back.
Bring body armor, you can't hurt me.
Thank you.
We should have practiced more.
She is going to be an ER doctor. So much is expected of Captain Khan, and I have no doubt that he will rise to the challenge. And we will see great things from him as we move forward as a department to serve our community to the best of our ability. So congratulations, Captain.
Congratulations. Just hiding behind him.
Yeah.
He's large enough.
Four phone books.
I'm sorry.
All right, next we are going to move on. Congratulations, Captain Khan. Next, we're going to move on to the 2021 year in review from the police department. And Chief Henson, you have the floor again.
This big one? All right. Mr. Mayor and members of the council, thank you again for the opportunity to present an overview of our activities in 2021. There are three core ideas associated to effective policing. The first is to prevent crime, and an effective department really isn't judged by high arrest rates, but rather it is defined by a community with low crime rates. The second is to earn public support, and the third is to earn that support by respecting the community's principles. We are all responsible for preventing crime and the safety of our community. The only difference is that we, the police, are paid to give our full attention to those duties, which are in the interest of the community welfare. I've got our core values listed on there. We just mentioned them just a little bit ago, but they are important to how we do our business. Okay, let me go back. We also have our mission statement. We created that late 2020, so this was our first year with our mission statement, serving with integrity to enhance quality of life for our Spring Hill community. We have 5 priorities. They are reduce crime, traffic safety, the employees, community outreach, problem solving, technology, equipment, and training, and I'll go through those as we go through. First, I'd like to talk about our organizational chart. This is how we are structured. The officers, they'll fluctuate. Sometimes they're not always in that order, but that's the number of officers that we have on the road, including our 3 sergeants. We are full. I've said that before, and that is awesome. To have all current positions filled is extremely exciting. We know we're not done yet, and we know we will continue to grow as the city grows. As a department, we have a very diverse backgrounds and experiences. Just to give you an idea, there are 16 commission positions. Regarding experience, 4 have over 20 years in the field. 5 have between 5 and 10 years in the field. 3 have 4 years of experience. 4 have 3 years or less. So we've got experience at the top, and we're starting at the bottom with getting some experience. We also have different languages that are spoken. Obviously, English is our primary one, but we also have Bengali, German, Portuguese, and Spanish. We have 3 females and 13 males. Okay, so looking at our crime, which is one of our objectives, by reducing crime, supporting crime reducing objectives and goals, providing high visibility through traffic stops, citizen contacts, and quality investigations. You can see there that 2020 was an anomaly. Obviously, everybody was inside their homes. There wasn't a lot of activity in and out. But you will see some things that would have fluctuated during that year as a result. But obviously between 19, 20, and 21, we have exceeded our calls for service in the last 3 years. We're beyond the 2019 numbers. Regarding the crime offenses, assaults and batteries are virtually the same from this year to last. Sex crimes went down. Those can include a lot of different things. That's a general broad definition there. Robbery, luckily, none. Battery went up in 2021. Of those batteries, about 33 were domestic violent related. So almost half of the batteries are domestic. And we saw an uptick in 2021 for that. Burglaries, virtually the same from this year to last year. Auto thefts down slightly. Burglaries are up, and those were attributed to open garage burglaries, partially related to the auto crimes that we were experiencing back in the fall. Drug arrests have gone up significantly, and our reports are continually going up. High lethality has to do with domestic violence. So if an officer is on a domestic call, we are required to do a high lethality report. We ask a series of questions. If they score high, they are determined to be a high lethality. We offer them safe home, other options to try to find a way to get them the help they need. But they are at a very high risk of further injury and repeat offenders, or repeat offenses. Our response time has been consistent. We average about 3 minutes, 34 seconds. And that is across the board, all shifts on an average, and that has been consistent year to year. Traffic safety is our other priority, and that's we do through education, traffic stops, enforcement of other traffic violations, and alcohol-related incidents. Unfortunately, we had a fatality this year. Our injury accidents have gone up, as our non-injury accidents. Not quite the same as 19, but still up from 2020. DUI enforcement is up. Traffic stops were down. We, on average, about 50% of traffic of violators stopped receive a citation, and the rest receive either a written warning that you can see there or a verbal warning. Traffic complaints are areas where neighbors call and say, they're speeding on my street. We'll assign a traffic complaint area, and then the officers will go out and they'll work it and track how many citations or stops that they make. We currently only have one active TCA at this point. It's obviously very important that we take care of our employees. We want to attract and retain quality employees. We want to be safe. We want to develop our employees and recognize their accomplishments. And last year, it was very busy for this. We promoted 2 to sergeant. We hired 6 officers and 1 captain. We recognized 2 for Distinguished Service Awards, recognized 9 for living the values that we recognize on a quarterly basis, that officers who demonstrate our values, we recognize them in our quarterly meetings. We also recognize 4 officers as top performers in select categories at our annual dinner. You can see down here is that the number of sworn personnel that we were allocated. In 19, we started out with 13. In 20, we were allocated an additional position. And in 16, we were allocated 2 more, or 1 more. You can see that our turnover ratio, kind of went up. We had a couple people retire in 2021. But what I made a comment yesterday about is we've hired 17 new people since late 2018. No. We hired 11 since 2018, and 6 have retired or moved on to a different profession. So we are ahead of the game. We're hiring more than we are losing, which is good, and we're keeping them. And we also, just so you're aware, we have if an officer is involved in a use of force or a pursuit or a complaint is lodged, we track those as well. We had 10 response to resistance last year, and those were basically muscling for people who were not complying. 1 pursuit that was in policy, 5 complaints, 2 of which became inquiries, which once we explained what was happening, there was no longer a complaint. and one that was sustained. And all that means is that, yes, indeed, what the person said did happen, but it was within policy. Community outreach and problem solving is also really important, and we want to prepare for future growth, engage the community through outreach and education. In 2021, we were able to do a number of different events. Pops with Cops was very well attended. That's where we had the ice cream social, basically, during the summer. National Night Out, which I really hope we can increase our participants this year. We had 2 neighborhoods last year. Drug Take Back, Hometown Holiday, Blue Elves, which we were able to sponsor 4 or 5 families. Good Deed Program, which has really turned out to be a really good program, and many more. Nerf Wars, that was one of the officers' favorites. Equipment, technology, and training. We obviously want to make sure that we equip our officers with effective equipment and technology that assist them to do their job, to become efficient and effective, especially, and be the best trained department of our size. Last year, we updated our body-worn cameras, we replaced 2 vehicles with new patrol SUVs, and we updated our in-car radios. On average, we're averaging, you can see there, we average about 100 hours per year. They are required to have 40 in order to maintain their certificate. So I think we're doing a really good job about getting our officers trained so they can make good decisions and exercise good officer safety. We can't not recognize our dogs. We have Nico, and Loki. So over the year, this is a combined total between the 2 dogs, 65 deployments, 14 of which were building searches or tracks. Narcotic deployments were 51, which would be your vehicle sniffs. That is actually a slight increase from the year before. Training hours, he trains, once a week. So he's averaging, 22 hours a month. This is a resource that a lot of outside agencies ask and seek. And so we have been deployed to help Olathe, Overland Park, Gardner, and a number of other agencies to help them with tracks or patrol deployments, narcotic deployments, et cetera. And we've used him 15 times for car stops and things of that nature as well. Now, we have the other side of police work, not only what you see out in the field, but also behind the scenes. We have a property records person. She does both jobs. So you can see that in 2021, we submitted 384 pieces of property. That is up from 2020. Those pieces of property were attached to 96 cases. We ran our evidence to the crime lab 37 times, which is up from last year, and our inventory has gone up, which is in our property room. She also does fingerprints for our residents. We did 68 in 21 and 79 in 20. And records requests are anything from core requests to defense attorneys asking for reports for their cases, things of that nature. And then warrants are the new warrants that were issued. So we issued 48 new warrants, courts did. When you look at the number of arrests, we arrested 55 warrant arrests in 21, 61 in 20, and in 2019, we have not yet got to our pre-COVID numbers. There were 149 warrant arrests. Animal control, we don't have an animal control officer. That officers do that. We have a animal control liaison that helps track numbers and helps do any of the significant follow-up, but most of the animal control calls are handled by our officers. Calls for service are virtually the same, dogs virtually the same, at large a little bit more, bites down, which is good, impounds down significantly, nuisances, that's barking, things of that nature about the same. Wild animals, farm animals, same thing. What's in store for 2022? Well, we certainly hope to continue efforts to upgrade our equipment and system. We also want to focus on mentoring and teaching for our future growth of the department. We understand that we are going to grow. We understand, as I mentioned, of our demographics and our experience. We have some that have a lot of experience. They're at the tail end, and we need to make sure that our ones that have less experience get as much experience as we possibly can. And we want to offer services and programs to our citizens. In 2021, we were able to add car seat installations, so we will do car seat installation checks. We also developed a mentor program for our incoming officers to assist with the transition to the department and in the field. That way they have an opportunity to, have somebody to call. And hopefully we'll be bringing in some e-ticketing for 2022. And we just want to thank everybody for the generous Spring Hill citizens and business owners. We couldn't do what we do without the support, and we really do appreciate it, and we look forward to a good 2022 year. Any questions?
Do you mind if I ask a question?
Go for it.
I'm very excited to hear about the car seat installation. That may not apply to everybody, but that was
Yeah.
big when I was having babies, and
Yes.
to have somebody here local to check that, that's huge. Is that something that in another community that I lived prior to here, that was, I'm assuming it can fall on either fire department, police department, whoever wants to take over that? Do you have any idea if our fire department here does that?
I
as
don't
well?
know about our fire department. You have to go through a 40-hour course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. We created an email. I think it's on our website. I think it's I wish I knew it. I think it's Car Seat. But you can log on there. It'll instantly say you want to schedule an appointment, and then we'll get you scheduled for it.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
I think we've only done a few though.
I'll spread the word.
Any other questions?
Else?
Just the community outreach stuff really goes a long way. I know we hear lots of feedback about that, and I think it really contributes to the positive relationship that our department has with our community. So it makes a difference.
Well, we really enjoy it. It's one of our favorite things to do.
And I think we're all greatly appreciative of you guys and everything you do. I know it's not an easy job, so from the community, we want to say thanks. And also, it's nice to see. I see the officers all the time, and almost every time I see a smile on their face. So it's nice to see that they're at least mostly enjoying their job, or at least if they're not, they at least look like they are.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Very good. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right, next we have 2021 year in review for community development, and Mr. Burton, you have the floor.
Oh, good evening. I didn't make any fancy slides. And you get to hear from a department that really brings in money. Every month you will receive a report that will outline what I'll tell you. Also, I'll go through the numbers, and then every month it also has the past years, and in this report that you'll receive, it's up to 2014 now to present. So a lot of this you'll see. We'll start out with the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission this year on preliminary plats, 1,301 preliminary plat lots and 36 tracts. Final platted lots that went through is 260. I think here coming up shortly, there's probably another 1,300 preliminary lots that are going to be going through. Also, RFP for the comp plan, which we will have the RFP coming out shortly. The comp plan's been funded for 3 years. But what happened, COVID, and then we were getting RFP ready, COVID hit, then last year was and so this year we will get it out to have the comp plan revised. And we're probably next month, the Planning Commission will do the final review on it, and the comp plan, or the RFP for the comp plan will go out. If you guys have any questions while I'm talking, just stop, and so you don't have to go back and try and remember. We did 208 code compliance citations. We did over 3,000 inspections. These numbers, 284 new single families compared to 181 new single families.
Could you repeat that again, Pat, just those
Sure.
last two numbers?
284. And in 2020, it was 181. Issued a total of 1,131 permits. Total valuation is 111 million on everything. They did 12 commercial and 8 industrial permits. Those were all new structures. We collected $623,000 in fees compared to 466 in 20. And the total fees that were collected by the department, plating fees, building permit fees, all other fees totaled $2,529,000. So overall, it's been very busy. We do everything that has to do with codes. That's what we do. It's a long list, and I really don't feel like going right through all of it. But if any of you do have any questions or anything, you know, door's always open, or call me. So busy, and we've already started off really busy this year as well. So any questions or anything?
Is it safe to say this? Is it safe to say this kind of growth is not something most towns experience?
I think we were number one in overall per capita. But I've experienced this before in Gardner, you know, years ago. But just about everybody has incredible growth. So we're fortunate, though, the type of growth that we're getting.
Mm-hmm.
Good mix.
Is it like year after year too? So like
It
it's
is.
like every year permits go up, the number of lots goes up, everything
Right.
is a bigger number than the year before.
That's correct. And on the, you know, the preliminary platted lots were 1,301. We'll have that here shortly. New ones again. So, and then the final platted lots were 260. We'll have that again shortly. So we'll beat those numbers easily. Year over year, in this report that you'll receive from us, and it has different colorings on it, but the bottom coloring's there to give you an idea. In 2014, we did 48 new single families, and we did 284 this last year. So
And you said that was in 14?
2014,
Wow.
and that'll be on the report that comes out here shortly.
So almost six times greater.
Oh, sure.
What is that? 8 years?
Right. When I first started, I think we did like 20. And we sure picked up a lot of signs that year.
Do you have a projection of when that'll level out? Like how many years will it grow?
I would like to project that, but what's happened now is a lot of the federal funding is starting to come into play, ARPA, Spark money. To give you an idea, we're working on some grants right now. It's the BASE grant, BASE, and it's open to private developers, everything. So I've never seen a grant like that, and it's a 75-25. 25% is all you have to have.
And it's a pretty large grant, too.
$25 million per application. You can do 3 applications, and it's $100 million the first round. And I mean, private companies, and I'm working with private development right now in utilizing to turn in for that grant money. That's very unheard of.
With the way we're growing, based off of your experience, are we handling the infrastructure the same way or better than the other places you've been in?
Right.
Or are we behind, or kind of where are we at?
So infrastructure on the new development, we're good.
Okay.
And obviously on everything, the older areas, we need to pick up the pace on that.
Okay.
An example was obviously Webster Street. We've taken care of that, and we've put funds aside for this year, special project funds and special project, is that correct? Special project, and we also have budgeted funds. So one of the problems is getting these RFPs out or trying to get the bids, and then, we've been fortunate on that. Some things that people aren't seeing right now is like we're putting in a large lift station at Quick Trip. And so that'll serve a large area there. There's gonna be quite a bit of, activity on increasing public parks areas with a lot of these plats that will be coming up. We're just kind of shooting from the hip on some of that, but we're working through it pretty well, I believe.
And that's one big thing that's important to me is parks, and so I think me and Pat are working together along with
Yes.
a lot of other people, trying to make that a good priority as well, especially for a lot of families here.
Yes, and it's sizable parks, 30 acres plus, and it's not just the corner lot of 2 acres and all, so.
Okay.
So we're trying to make a big difference in that. To answer your question directly, I think the growth is just gonna keep going when you have trillions and trillions of dollars dumped into the economy. And they're opening it up to private developers and all, so somebody will get that and growth will keep going, so. Any other questions?
Any other questions?
All right, thank you. Feel free, though, to call me anytime, and now that everything's kind of you'll be getting reports and all, so.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Appreciate it. All right, next we will move on to the citizen participation period, and if you could just step up to the front and say your name and your address. And first on the list, we have Mr. Charles Morse.
Where? Thanks. Give me just one moment here, please,
Sure.
to set up. Mr. Burton's ended quickly, and so I should have pre-booted this. Here it comes. So,
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
if I can't get this to work, I'm going to give up in about 10 seconds. Sorry.
You're good.
Ashley, any suggestions? I think it thinks I have 2 screens hooked up.
Something. Amy?
Oh, we got it.
Got it?
Okay. Thank you.
Ashley to the rescue. Thank you.
And I think my computer's acting up, so I think it's going to make those noises for sound effects during the presentation. Basically, okay, I'm going to be a Debbie Downer compared to all the uplifting stuff tonight. It's actually pretty good stuff. So I just wanted to give, I wanted to basically give a presentation again that I'd given on December 14th to the governing body. And I wanted the new council members to have the opportunity to kind of hear what I presented and potentially take an action at the very end. But I'll try to go quickly because I know Mrs. Roth has seen this. Some of you may have seen it. I don't know, but I don't want to beat the dead horse necessarily. But so what this pertains to is an October 14th annexation by the city of 80 acres near 185th and Ridgeview. And that 80 acres made way for a development proposal by Clayton Properties, And it became the only annexed property in the city of Spring Hill to touch city of Olathe property, which, has never happened before, actually. So I think it would have caused, it was unique in that sense. And so on the planning commission meeting on November 4th, there were 3 rezoning applications and a preliminary plat related to that. Area neighbors, myself included, we hired Michelle Burns, a property law firm, to help us oppose this proposed development. And then that evening, following the first 2 presentations, the staff asked that the agenda be revised, remove those items from the agenda, and to be continued at the next meeting. But it actually never happened, because after that meeting, Michelle Burns discovered that the city was in an active lawsuit with Olathe and was under a court-ordered stay and injunction not to annex any land north of the boundary line, and the boundary line being the agreed-upon boundary line with Olathe, which was agreed to in 2006. And then during the November 18th City Council special session, there were some closed-door sessions with the outside counsel for the city. And then prior to the December 2nd Planning Commission meeting, the developer withdrew all their applications. And then on December 14th, it culminated with the governing body de-annexing the land. And this is when I kind of had given this proposal. So through our attorney and my own research, we've tried to put together a timeline, because no one said anything to us, as a community, as to what happened, why the development went away. But from our research, we can see that on March 10th of last year, Olathe filed suit against Spring Hill after Spring Hill annexed land at 179th and 169 Highway to make way for the Carvana development. And apparently the city of Olathe had told Spring Hill that it would file suit if Spring Hill did it, because it was beyond the agreed upon boundaries from the 2006 agreement. Spring Hill obviously decided, no, we want to do it anyway, so hence the litigation. And the city of Spring Hill and the city administrator were named in the case. And on the 25th, just 15 days after the suit was filed, the governing body approved hiring Lathrop GPM to represent it in legal defense. And so immediately there was a temporary restraining order against Spring Hill and against Olathe from annexing any additional land beyond the boundary line. So Olathe can't annex anything south of their line. Spring Hill can't annex anything north until the court case is settled. And that restraining order was as it entered the appeals phase. So meanwhile, Lathrop has billed the city a total of $105,811 for its services, and in the appropriation orders each month it says annexation defense or annexation litigation. So it seems clear to me that the governing body, last year's governing body, would have been well aware of this ongoing litigation. But it's surprising because, in spite of that, the city still voted to annex this land at the very northeastern part of the city and touching city of Olathe property. In spite of the court order, and in spite of the city and the city staff being named in this case, and in spite of the governing body approving, at that time, nearly $100,000 on the litigation. So I really think this was a failure by the Spring Hill city administrator, the community development director, the city attorney at the time, and the governing body to let this happen. And so I think for you guys as the new members, it's kind of a cautionary tale of details matter. Don't always trust what you're told. I encourage you to think for yourselves and question it. And if you guys are signing off on litigation, in any job that I've had where there's any litigation occurring, we're all hyper aware of it because that stuff matters. And in this case, it was almost as if the litigation was ignored completely. And the city did the same behavior in spite of the restraining order that caused the initial suit, even though that may have been calculated the first time around. So these are the questions I submitted on 12/14. I don't expect to get answers to them because I think the governing body can say that it's an ongoing legal matter. It's a personnel matter. That's what I was told last time. But in the end, what I'd like to do tonight is submit my neighbors, my legal bills for defending against this development proposal, which followed the illegal annexation, because that fight should have never occurred had the city staff and the governing body been doing their duty to oblige with this restraining order. So I've got, sorry for the beeps, I'm going to unplug it now. So I'm gonna give you guys a copy of the invoices, and I'd like you to consider reimbursing us give you the total. And I'm excited that Mr. Burton's department has brought in so much money, because this is just gonna be a little drop in the bucket. But with two invoices, it's $5,857.50. So Ashley, do you wanna, can I give these to you?
Could you repeat that number?
It is 5857.50. Invoices, and I have copies of both invoices here for your review.
Mr. Morse,
Yes.
would you please provide those to Glenda Garrity, our city clerk?
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's all that we have that signed up. Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Hi guys, Steve Boswell, 504 Jackson, Spring Hill, Kansas. I asked a question at the last meeting and it wasn't a rhetorical question. I was hoping for an answer. Excuse me. At one point or another, and I did not get any answers, so I went seeking my own answers I asked 3 different attorneys in 3 different cities their legal opinion on our charter ordinance 38 section 7, which clearly states when any vacancy shall happen in the office of mayor, the president of the council for the time being shall exercise the office of the mayor, which would of course be you, Mr. Berkey. And then it goes on to say, and all rights and privileges and jurisdiction of the mayor, other than the appointment of officers or employees until such vacancy can be filled at the next city election, which would be, of course, in 2 years or less than 2 years now. It also goes on to say, or until such disability be removed, or in the case of a temporary absence until the mayor shall return. Now, the opinions that I got on this is that you are unable, since you are an appointed individual or appointed mayor, you were elected to be the president of the council, but you were appointed to be the mayor. It was all 3 of them agreed that the consensus would be that you are not able to appoint any officers, and that the vacancy for the mayor's office should be filled at the next election, which of course is exactly what it says. So before you appoint a person to the council today, and I understand you're between a rock and a hard place. Of course, we've just had yet another vacancy open up. I would like to see what can be done to follow our charter ordinances, because if we don't follow them now, then we can break them anytime we want to, when it's convenient. And that's, they're there for a reason. And I want to make sure that they stay there and it just doesn't become a free-for-all. If you would if you could have the attorney get back with me, I would appreciate it. I understand he has, I'm sure, a legal opinion of his own. We all, there's plenty to go around, but I would also encourage getting a legal opinion from the Attorney General as well on this specific ordinance, 36, Section 7. And that's all that I really have.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and move on to the consent agenda. And is there any discussion on that? No discussion, we just need a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed? Well, there's no opposed, so motion carries 3-0-0. Next, we'll move on to the formal action. And the first item on the agenda is appointment of a council member seat for the seat vacated by Joe Berkey, myself. The person I'm going to appoint tonight is someone that's participated in many different committees and boards throughout their lifetime. They've helped sponsor emergency preparedness for natural disasters in another community. They volunteered in Cub Scouts, been a campaign manager for a Kansas senator, been a current precinct person for Spring Hill for several years. And I think they'd be a valuable asset to the community. And with that, would Miss Wendy North please come forward? And Miss,
We gotta do a
Make a
vote.
motion?
we got
Yeah.
not quite. So we just need a motion.
I make a motion to appoint Wendy North to the vacant council member seat vacated by Joe Berkey.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
To be clear, that motion, as I understand it, is you move to approve
To
the
approve.
appointment of
That-
Mayor Berkeley.
That is correct.
I want to make sure I heard it right.
Make a motion to approve Mayor Berkey's appointment of Wendy North.
Thank you, sir.
Again, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
And none abstained, so motion carries 2-1-0. And with that,
Mayor, I'm sorry, who made the no vote?
it was Mr.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Thank you.
And with that, Madam Clerk, would you perform the oath?
I, Wendy North, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Kansas and faithfully discharge the duties of council member for the city of Spring Hill, Kansas. So help me God. Thank you.
Sign your oath. Thank you.
For the welcome in line.
Congratulations.
You want to help her, Chad? Give us just a second. We're going to get her set up on. All right, next item on the agenda is a consider of ordinance number 2022-01. And Mr. Burton, you have the floor. Oh, and that's the rezoning of 18385 South, US 169 Highway from RR to M-1 with Archer Jensen Incorporation.
Sure, thank you. So, true good evening to you. This is, as you said, a formal action on ordinance 2022-01 for rezoning of Z-49 2021. Location is 1835 18385 West 169 from R1 to M1. It's a 31 acre tract south of 183rd. It's currently zoned RR rural residential, and it came in to the city limits by annexation as rural residential. The surrounding area is that's where Webster, the new Webster comes off of 183rd, and all the surrounding area, and the comp plan also calls it to be M1 industrial. The analysis by the planning commission, and they voted unanimously to recommend to the governing body the zoning request, the approval of it. The 14-day protest period has passed, and there was no protest petition or any type of call or anything received by city staff or in the mail or anything. So you can approve it, override the recommendation, remand back to the planning commission, deny or continuance. Mr. Dunley has reviewed the draft rezoning ordinance. There's no budgetary impact on this, and planning commission and staff recommend approval of ordinance 2022-01 for the rezoning of this property. Any questions?
I just got one quick one. Is
Yes.
it common to go from rural to general industrial?
It's common, yes, because everything in Open County is zoned RR.
Because it's just basically county land out there.
That's correct. It was.
Or
And then when it comes
there's lots
in-
of it around us.
Yes, right. And
What's
so,
on the lot right next door to it?
that would be
Is
there.
there a house there or is it?
No, there is a house there owned by Mr. Jensen.
Okay.
But to the south is going to be the new, there'll be another storage area.
Mm-hmm.
And then across the street towards the east against the tracks is the, Monarch Concrete Cement Company.
Okay.
Yeah, that big new plant.
It fits the area really well.
I was just making sure we weren't butting up next to a house if there's one there, but if it's Jensen's.
Right, no,
It's his
no.
house, so.
Yeah, he owns it. And the house is part of this. And the house will be able to still be used as residential, unless they move out of it and a 6-month period goes, then that it would have to. So what it is a non-conforming use right now. So, and I believe someone of the family lives there.
I think that's the only house in the area.
It is.
Yeah.
And it kind of, like for non-conforming, it just essentially gets grandfathered in because it was there for.
That's correct in
Okay.
its utilization. Now, if it burns or something, if it burns 60%, they wouldn't be able to rebuild a house there.
Stipulations.
Right, there's quite a few stipulations.
For the council and
Oh.
Mayor Berkey,
Yeah.
I did want to point out, this is a matter for the governing body,
Correct.
not a matter
Everybody
for the
votes
council.
roll.
Okay, I
Yes, sir.
wanted to make sure
Yep.
that had been brought to your attention. I also wanted to be clear in regard to, if you accept the recommendation, then it requires a majority vote and adoption. If you reject you reject the matter, it's a 2/3 to reject. It can be sent back to zoning, to planning and zoning commission for, on a majority vote. All right? Or it can be tabled, a majority vote.
Any other discussion or questions?
I'm good.
If not, I entertain a motion.
You want to do it?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Okay,
go ahead.
do your first one.
Hit your,
Turn your mic on.
you're over there, hit that button, right to the left of it, on the microphone.
Sorry, I got our computer ready, but didn't get our mic ready.
All right. I move to consider the ordinance number 2022-01.
I'll
Move to
second.
approve.
Yeah.
Is what is,
To approve?
yeah, move to approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? If not, Madam Clerk, would you take the roll, please,
Of the governing body.
of the governing body?
Mrs. Roth,
Yes.
Mr. Peel,
Yes.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mrs. North,
Yes.
Mayor Berkey.
Yes.
Ordinance passes 500.
Thank you all.
Thank you. With that, we will move on to announcements and reports. I don't really have any announcements tonight, other than thank you all for being here and participating. We always like the citizens to show up and give their voice, and we'd love to hear from you. So spread the word if you want to come and citizen participation. We'd love to hear your thoughts and what you have to say. And with that, we'll move on to Mrs. Roth.
First of all, congratulations, Captain Khan. Congratulations. And congratulations, Wendy. Welcome. Excuse me, Council Member North. Other than that, I have no report.
All right. Mr. Peel.
The only thing I got is the Chambers Barbecue on the Hill event is Monday the 14th, which I believe is this upcoming Monday.
Yep.
I've had the opportunity to attend that in the past, and it's a very good opportunity and experience to meet with and put a face with a name with different legislators through Johnson County. I know the city has always sent representatives in the past. I think we're planning on doing that again this year. But it's always a really good selling Spring Hill event and showcasing what all the good things that we're doing here. And we get 10 or 15 minutes to highlight what we're doing for our state representatives, and they get K&M barbecue out of the deal too. So
It's always good.
yep.
Mr. Young. Mrs. North.
I'm good.
You're good. All right, and I did have what Brian said brought me something. I was able to attend the legislative breakfast for Miami County Legislative Breakfast last week, and that was a lot of fun. And same thing, it was able to meet with some of the Kansas senators and a couple of our state representatives for the Miami County area, and so that was very informative, and it was a lot of fun getting to hear about what's going on in Topeka. A lot of times we just know what's going on here, but it was nice to hear what they're fighting for on that end for us in Topeka. So that was great. All right, Mr. Burton.
We are submitting R3 applications for the BAS program, or BASE program, I apologize, which we'll send out an email to you on the projects that we're working on to send. These are shovel-ready projects or really close to it. So that will be coming out. I'll be gone all of next week, but I'll email you from there and let you know if I have any service or not, stuff like that. Then I know some of you have emailed me on some questions regarding some events that will be, or some actions that will be taking place at the next council meeting, and I will get to every one of your emails on that. Other than that, we're very busy. We've had a lot of state inspectors that came in, and Jackie could maybe talk about that. And Chuck didn't have anything, just so you know. So, thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk.
No report, thank you.
Mrs. Armstrong. Mr. Messer.
If I can get this sucker on.
Sounds like it's already on.
Oh, good. I've got the old one. Yeah, we did have an inspection report at the wastewater plant, the EPA and KDHE. Fortunately, we're getting our pumps in the same day they showed up. So They were pleased. We had a few things they had mentioned in the past that because it was a 2-year span that showed up, but everything went really well. The report came back, very few things to address, so it was very successful.
Great.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. No.
All right. Chief Henson?
No report.
No report. And you already said Mr. Dunley didn't have any reports? All right. And with that, we'll go ahead and motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved?
Any discussion? All right.
Second?
Yep.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Obviously, nobody's opposed. Motion carries 4-0-0. Have a good night, guys.